Okay, so we're on to the oil pan now. Got it cleaned up as best I could. There's still a few little spots. I use simple green and a little brush. Mostly tried to make sure I got all this little rail where the bolts go. But I mean, I scrubbed on all this stuff quite a bit. I would personally probably prefer it a little bit cleaner, but it's good enough. I can live with it. The inside I just cleaned with a rag that I had sprayed with brake cleaner, and so I got it all cleaned up and got the where the silicone's going to go. So I'm going to use this Toyota. I had bought this a while back when I did the last oil pump, which I just did the little half oil pump, not the whole entire oil pump like I did this time. But it's just the oil pump itself that sits in the housing. So I had this much left over, and this is 3 ounces. So from Toyota, this stuff, I just priced it when I went and bought all the other parts. They wanted $30 for this little 3-ounce tube. So I don't remember paying that much. I kind of doubt that I did. I think I bought it probably 3-4 years ago now. But this is just what I had left over. And I did get a little bit out the other night, just to make sure it's good, because I have in the past using some of this silicone, and this stuff would be fine too. But you want to make sure you look for the ones that say sensor safe. I don't know, either one of these, but I had used a tube like this years ago that I just had some left over, and it's not something I use all the time. So I was doing a water pump on my Nissan Altima, and I used some of this, and it never set up, it never cured, and it was pretty old. Like, it was probably close to 7-8 years old, if not older. So I can't really blame the silicone, and it was an open tube, so I would think sealed like that, it's probably going to have a lot longer shelf life. But this stuff, I did just get a little bit out the other day, and it did set up by the next day. So there's a part number if you want to. And you can, I Googled it, there's off eBay, you can buy it. It's a lot cheaper than what Toyota wants for it. Now, I also have left over, last time I worked on a Hyundai, this is the Hyundai silicone. I don't know, hopefully that focuses on that part number there. If not, I can post it below in the comments. I'll probably use this on the valve cover, because like I said, I think this is more than enough to do the oil pan. Now I'm going to just fill in this little hole, and then I'm going to go around the inside. I don't typically like to go like right across the holes for the bolt holes. I go to the inside, and I kind of don't like getting silicone all over the threads. I think it's just messy and makes it harder to clean up later. So when I get to each one, I'm going to go to the inside, and I had thought about circling it, going inside and outside. But if you look at the oil pump flange on the bottom of the motor, you can kind of see a lot of these bolts. It is right, the bolts are towards the outside edge, so any silicone there, to be honest, isn't really going to be doing much. It's more, there's a lot more sealing surface area to the inside, and it's like that on both sides. So that's my reason for circling it around the outside. The inside. So and just before I did this, I wiped this down with brake cleaner on just one of them blue paper towel, shop towel things, because you want that surface real clean and no oily residue. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and the valve cover will be next. And then I still got to deal with my exhaust flange. This is the stud that broke. I did just try drilling it out rather than trying to weld a nut to it. And I got it a little bit crooked as I drilled it. I tried drilling from the bottom and from the top. Looked like I had it pretty well centered when I did it, but once I got it done and drilled all the way through, it is just off slightly. So I'm probably just going to use a bolt and a nut versus putting a stud. I have the stud that came out of there, and this one stud stayed in there. So I don't know if you can see that one. That's going to be probably the last thing I do. And I was going to try to do the oil pump as the last, then just the exhaust. But the valve cover, before I put the valve cover on, I actually want to pour some oil over the cam and then fill it with the 4 quarts through there, just because this motor is like a slanted. It's like the old Chrysler 225 slant sticks, so it's slanted to the back, and with the oil fill hole to the back, and then it's got a little baffle in there. It actually takes quite a bit of effort to, or takes time to fill this. So before I put the valve cover on, I'm going to go ahead and just pour it with oil, pour the oil in over the valves and stuff that way, or over the cam. Now I'm not doing, because I kind of didn't realize this till after, there's a rubber plug right back here. I'm not going to do that for now. If I would have realized it, I probably would have. And the reason I'm not doing it is there's a bolt here that's not too hard to get this bracket out of the way, but the other bolt is actually going into the bottom of the intake, and it goes in this way. Well, there's no way to access that unless you take the throttle body off, which is just these 3 bolts. There's one here and 1 or 2 on each bottom corner. So I don't have a throttle body gasket, and I kind of already know I'm pulling this valve cover off again shortly, so you know, to end up adjusting the valves, because I think I mentioned before, like 6 of the exhaust valves are a little on the tight side, and I went up to pulled there's supposedly a tool you can use to compress the valve and get the little shim out. I was looking at it, and to me it just looks like it's going to be way easier to pull the cam, and the intake side is fine, but the exhaust, like say, and I just want to get this thing back together and done. I mean, I don't anticipate messing with the oil pump or the pan again, so all that hopefully is the last time I mess with that for a long while. But I know the valve cover is going to end up coming back off again, probably in, like say, about 30,000 miles. When the car hits 300,000, I'll probably do a timing belt and then adjust the valves at that time, do that little rubber plug that goes there. So that's kind of already in the plans. Anyways, let me go ahead and get some silicone on this oil pan. And what's kind of nice with the when you buy the Toyota and the Hyundai one, they come with this little T-handle that makes it really nice. I mean, I guess if you're doing this a lot, you know, pretty often, you can get the full size, the bigger size ones that come in the like in a caulking tube. You can just use in a caulking gun. But you know, like I say, I don't do this often enough that I'm gonna go, you know, buy that large quantity and stuff. So it's kind of nice with the little T-handle, and I'm sure I'm gonna save these, and I'm sure they'll adapt and work on like a regular tube RTV. So anyways, let me go ahead and get started on that. And then when you go to put the oil pan on, 2 of these, let's see, the oil pan goes this way. I don't remember which 2, but like this one and this one, maybe this one, they're actually on studs, so you just got a nut. So that helps you line it up as you put it up on there, and then you can worry about putting the other bolts in and stuff after. So alrighty, let's hopefully I don't make a mess of this. Now I reuse these. This, you can see it was used with red silicone last time. So I would probably cut this a little bit with a larger size opening here, like the next size up. But I mean, you can use this. It's just going to take a little longer for me to fill everything in. Just got to go a little bit slower. But and then you just let the silicone dry, and you can usually get it out with a nail or a screw or something like that. But alrighty, let me get started here. And you want to put a pretty good size bead. You know, you're going to want it to seal. And then, like I said, when I get to the bolt holes, I'm going to go to the inside, and then I like to fill in this little recessed area. Okay, so I got a pretty decent, you want to do a pretty good little bead, you know, good thickness, so that way when you get it up there, it's gonna smash down and fill in all the little crevices, whatever. But you want it pretty consistent, you know, I don't know, whatever that depth is. And then I've already, before I started this, like I said, I wiped all this down with brake fluid or brake cleaner. And I already wiped off the bottom of the block with brake cleaner as well. And all my bolts are there ready to go. So, and like I said, I'm going to put this up, put the 2 nuts on the 2 studs first, and then get the rest of the bolts in, and then go around and torque everything. So, all right, that's probably good. I'll probably show, well, pause it again. Okay, so exactly what I didn't want to do, I did. You can see right here, I bumped the oil pan as I was trying to line it up, and I made a big mess there. So I'm just going to wipe that off real quick. And then I know I mentioned I don't really like it being on the bolt threads, but you can kind of see I lined it up pretty good once I added more silicone where along this edge where I bumped it there. But see, it did kind of already squeeze out where the bolts go. So there's going to be a little bit in there, but I don't think it'll be a big deal. I just don't like having a lot of silicone on the bolt threads. But anyways, that's it. There's one nut there and one nut up here, and I got those on first. Now I'm just going to go through and put the rest of the bolts and snug them up, and then I'll get the torque wrench, and I forget what it is, but I got it written down. But I think these are pretty low. It's going to be in the inch-pound. I'm going to use the inch-pound torque wrench, and I will post what that torque is. But there you go. That should be it. We'll do the valve cover next. If I don't edit these and add them together, thanks for watching.